What's up, everybody? This is Storyhive on location in Lake Cowichan with beats, eats, and more. We're broadcasting live right now from the unceded ancestral lands of the Ts'uubaa-asatx Nation, the people of the lake. Utmost love and gratitude and respect for the original stewards and protectors of these lands. I'm your host of the show, Cazi, and special guest right now. As you can see, something special is happening here. I'm actually trying to keep it together because it's slightly painful, but we are joined today by Julay, spirit name Akit Biyaya, which means charmer of grace. Julay is a queer tattoo ritualist, antingero, amulet conjurer, and keeper of ancestral magic from Kapampangan, Ilokano, and Tagalog lineages, the land that is colonially known as the Philippines. Julay offers ritual handpoke tattoos, ancestral diagnostics like tawas, Reiki, EFT, and mentorship. A student of Hilot, the traditional healing arts of the Philippines, Julay walks the path of decolonizing healing, holding space for grief, truth, and the return to intuitive, liberated living. And today on the show, I am receiving my birthday ink blessing as we get to chat with Julay and learn more about their path, tapping into their healing gifts and their offerings. Oh wow, getting tattooed makes me speak different. I'm like slow and calm because there's it's the counterbalance of the pain of the needle going into the skin. But thank you so much for doing this, Julay.
Yeah, for sure. It's always an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, Julay and I have known each other for more than a decade now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were trying to connect the pieces about when we first met, but I think it came down to the fact that I ended up coming over to their house when they were living in Montreal, and
That's
I
right.
was living in Montreal at the time. And you just started tattooing.
I did.
Yeah, you had a machine
Yep.
or a tattoo machine at the time. And I remember we were, me and my former partner at the time who were there, we were like, should we just get tattooed right now? We were about to make the move.
Oh my God, did y'all?
No.
Oh, I don't remember.
Because at that time, I had no tattoos yet. And so I was like, I don't know if this is the time. I didn't want to make a rush decision on a design. I felt like, I felt like it needed to be a moment. And in the end, my first tattoos were these ones that were done by Ilona.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, shout outs to
That's
Ilona.
my boo.
In Toronto, has done so much of my ink in the past. But yeah, anyway, fast forward, after I started getting some tattoos done, which, I have a personal rule where I like hand poke tattoos only, actually. Not just because of how they feel, but I also feel like it connects me deeper to our ancestral traditions. And Julay, the last time that they did a tattoo on me was back in 2017 or 2018. I posted
think it was
a picture.
2018.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I posted a picture of it on my Instagram, and it completes the 3 lines or 2 lines that Ilona had done on my back. And then it was, it is a lotus flower in the design style from the island that my family is from, which is in the Visayas, the island of Panay. So yeah, that was the last time we were in inking ceremony.
Oh my gosh.
Together.
That feels like a lifetime ago.
For real. And since then, both you and I have acquired way more ink on our bodies.
Oh my God, it's so true.
Yeah, I guess I'd love to start, this interview with sharing with the people / also learning from you, being reminded again. How did you first get into ritual tattooing?
Oh, ritual tattooing. Oh my gosh, just as you said that, shivers went through my entire body. Also, full disclosure, everybody, I am perimenopausal, so
Yeah.
if I lose my train of thought, that's why.
The more you know, everyone.
That's right.
Women in your 30s or people who have a uterus.
Yes, that's right. Ritual tattooing. So, as you mentioned, I did start off, using a machine. My intentions were to do this work in like healing arts in that kind of realm. And so, but I had actually wanted to get a tattoo from Apo Wangod. I think everybody knows who Apo Wangod is.
There's a picture of her over there on Vogue Philippines.
Yes. And I think I had started tattooing my tattoo journey like in 2000 and honestly when my daughter was born, Tala.
Whoa, 17 years ago.
17 years ago, yeah. I wasn't exactly like, and I'm talking when I say I started my tattoo journey, I mean start practicing on oranges and like, oh my gosh, one time I practiced on pigskin. It was pretty gross, but
like lechon before it got cooked or something.
Yeah, it was really gross. I was like, never again. But yeah, and then learning more about our culture and our tattoo practices, I was like, maybe I should be offering this. I also learned that our ancestral tattooing was actually mostly femmes who did the tattooing. And so when I was looking into getting my first Filipino tattoo, I was going to the Philippines and I was looking for a femme tattooist who did quote unquote traditional Filipino tattoos and couldn't find one actually.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and so at the time anyways, right?
Right.
Now there's like a
bunch.
Can't swear.
Yeah. A crap ton.
Well, I'm glad I caught myself there, but yeah, there's a ton of femme tattooists now, and but yeah, at the time there wasn't any, and so I was like, maybe this is a part of my journey, and anyway, so fast forward to 2014. This is kind of a long-ish story, but
no, we love it.
Fast forward to 2014, I went to the Philippines with a friend of mine. We had planned to do like this whole spiritual journey over there, and try, other than getting a tattoo by Apo Wangod, like talking to healers and just learning from them and receiving healing too from like Manghi Hilots. And but unfortunately, my uncle, my mom's oldest brother, was diagnosed with cancer. And so my mom was like, is it okay if you take this time to be with family? Like, I could use your support to
For sure.
to help with take care of your uncle, because he didn't want to go to the hospital. So I did, and I think it was really one of the most integral parts of my journey, in terms of like connecting to spirit, because I basically was his death doula.
Wow.
I turned, like, it just so happened to be that way, right? And so and then so that helped me with my connection to spirit, because he was talking about seeing people who are loved ones, like his brothers who have passed, and telling us that they're coming to get him, and like, and so I don't know, it was such a beautiful time actually, even though it's such, death is always so full of grief and
For sure, and
sadness, but it was a sad time, but it was also really beautiful in ways of, spirit and connection to spirit. Anyways, I told my mom, I just really need to see Apo Wangod.
Yeah.
And this is like the one thing I really need to do on this trip. And I did. My uncle passed away in March. We were there from January till about April, May.
Oh, so this was in the Philippines.
This was in the Philippines.
Wow.
2014, yeah. And so, and this was at a time where Apo Wangod was popular, but not like it is now.
Yeah.
Where you gotta wait in line for days.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm like trying to go maybe in February, so.
Yeah, no, you gotta wait in line for days.
Wow.
Yeah, and so I went to see her. I received my markings from her, and I also received markings from Grace, her grandniece.
Oh, wow. Where are they?
They're on my arm, like right here.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry for the ashiness.
No.
But yeah, and then so it was really, oh my gosh, I actually almost died because I got infected. I think we arrived on like a Monday, and we were supposed to be there for a week. And I got tattooed on the next day, I believe. And then the day after I got tattooed, I just was not feeling right.
Oh no.
I was really dizzy. I had a high fever. My arm was like red, like really red. And it was so painful. And I was like, okay, there's something wrong, right? My friend was like, do you want to go? Do you want to leave now? And I was like, no, I think I'll be okay. Like, let's just stay. And because, you know, we were supposed to integrate with the people and like help them plant rice and, you know, all those things. And, you know, I was like, I want that for you. Like, you can go do that, you know? And then, you know, we left as scheduled, but I was not well. Like, don't know how I got down the mountain.
I've heard the journey to Kalinga is crazy.
It is. It's actually not so bad now because they've changed a few things as far as like getting there. I think like it's like less walking now or something like that. I can't remember, but yeah, at the time it wasn't less walking, and I don't really know how I got down that mountain because I was like off balance. I was like, yeah, it was pretty bad.
Oh
anyway.
Man. Yeah.
So I'm on this bus back to Baguio, and once we got to Baguio, I was able to do some research because we had Wi-Fi, and I had all the symptoms for cellulitis.
Oh, what? What's
that? Cellulitis is a deep tissue infection because you know when if you get an infection from a tattoo, it's just like a staph surface infection.
Okay.
Cellulitis is like deep tissue, like even like beneath all of that skin and
oh my
whatnot.
Gosh. So what do you think was going on?
Well, I'm diabetic.
Right.
And I think that my system because over there they're not, at the time anyways, I know they're better now.
Yeah.
But at the time, like I don't think it was super sterile, you know?
Right.
Which I knew going in there, to be honest. I was like, I'm going to get an infection. It's okay. It won't be bad. It'll heal. Right? Meanwhile, yeah. So, I found out I got cellulitis. I had called my cousin and I was like, yo, you got to bring me to the hospital as soon as we get to Manila.
Yeah.
And then on the bus, thank goodness we got like a bus with a toilet on it because I was in the toilet most of the time. My body was like just trying to detox everything, right?
And self-regulate.
Yeah. Oh, another thing is in my research, I saw that oil of oregano was because I look up holistic remedies, and oil of oregano was the number one thing that came up for cellulitis, and that it's like saved people's lives and whatnot.
Whoa.
And so I just happened to have a freaking bottle of oil of oregano in my backpack because I was smart enough to ask my brother to get me a bottle. And I was like downing it. I'm really trying hard not to swear, but I was like downing it.
Yeah.
And so like the red was like climbing up my arm, and it was like right over here when I started taking the oil of oregano, and I was like, oh man, like that's close to my heart, right? So, and I had read that cellulitis, if not treated right away, that I can go septic.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, I was pretty scared. I knew that things were not right, and oil of oregano helped kind of keep things at bay, I suppose. Anyway, so I get to the hospital. My cousin meets me. We get to the hospital. I go into the admissions. Yeah. And they're like, why are you here? And I was like, I think I have cellulitis.
You're like, I already know.
Yeah, I want to look into the camera, but I can't because I don't want to flash you guys with this. But and they just looked at me and they were like, okay. They called the nurses right away. The nurses came really fast, like putting IV, and I was just like, oh shit. Oh yeah. I almost said
sugar.
It. Yeah. Yeah. I was like, oh sugar. So I knew I almost died.
Wow.
But also at the same time, like, you know, I was reflecting in the hospital bed, and I was like, this is such a, I had learned that in my research about, our ancestral tattooing, that some people do get sick. And when you get sick and you live through it, then you're like, it's like a leveling up.
Yeah, it's like your initiation.
Exactly.
I was going to ask you, I was like, please tell me this is the story of your initiation.
It is. You are exactly right.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the story of my initiation. And then, as soon as I got home, I just like stopped using the machine and just did handpoke.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what happened.
That's a crazy story, especially to have gone through, what you described with death doulaing your family member,
right?
To then paying this pilgrimage. Also, like, quick sidebar for anyone who doesn't know who Apo Wangod is, she's a centenarian. She's over 100 years old.
Yeah.
She's from the Kalinga Mountains and upholds the tradition of handpoke tattooing. Hand tap. Oh yeah, even different. It's like piece of wood with a thorn with a charcoal as what they used to do.
Yeah, and then there's two pieces. Mm-hmm. There's as you can see, hand poking is just this, but with hand tap, like you mentioned, there's like a piece of thorn that's sticking out, and you have another stick that you like tap it with to get the ink in.
Yes.
Just one of the many methods of, that our ancestors used to tattoo.
Yeah, which is so wild to think of. And that's what they did on yours as well.
Yes, they did.
What would you say is like the difference in terms of feeling from the tapping to the hand poking that you're doing now?
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
There's many people that say that hand tapping doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
But it freaking hurts. I disassociated. Looking around in the mountains, disassociated. I don't know where my spirit went.
Yeah. And it took how long?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, see, at this point now, my pain levels I've acclimatized.
Yes.
And it actually feels kind of nice. It feels kind of like, even though it's like a sharp little pain, it feels kind of soothing in a weird way. Especially when you get a rhythm going.
Good.
The only time I've ever felt uncomfortable getting a tattoo is when it hits like a nerve part.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually not pain. It feels like a weird,
No, it's the worst.
It's like a weird itch.
Yeah.
That you can't do anything about. And I had that when I got my side tattooed by Alona. And I could feel it down my leg.
I was going to say sometimes there's like involuntary movements too when that happens. Which is, strange for both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm used to it, but yeah.
So that started now what has been like a decade, hey? Like 2014, now it's 2025.
Yeah, 11 years since then. Wow. I didn't even realize that.
How has your relationship to the practice evolved over time?
Oh my gosh. Oh, do we have another? I don't know.
We can go on. This live stream's 8 hours long.
How has it evolved? It's funny because I'm actually started mentoring, and I've had like 3 mentors so far, going through 2 of them right now.
You mean mentees?
Mentees, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And I always talk about how tattooing. Ritual tattooing, yes, it's holding space for your client or for the receiver, but it's also healing for us, because there's, as I mentioned earlier during prayers, like we're all connected, right? We all mirror each other. And in every ceremony that I've done, there's always something about it that I resonate with and that I need to heal within myself. Oh my gosh, I might cry. But anyways, that I need to heal within myself. So I feel like it's been such a journey of like healing and, facing my different parts of myself that I may not necessarily like. And I know we've talked about this, that I may not necessarily like, and really just holding those parts of myself and, yeah, and I really do believe that it's a collective healing. And it's also, you know, a form of resistance because this practice was erased, or they tried to anyways, from, you know, through colonization.
It's true.
Yeah, so I do believe this is a revolutionary act that we're doing now, you know, reclaiming our sugar. I like that, reclaiming our sugar.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, from the beginning till now, it's just been more intentional, I think. And I'm really seeing the connections of, again, like my own healing and the community's healing. And it's just all just kind of, I don't know, because
it's all connected.
It's all connected,
interwoven.
you know, and in the diaspora, we face so many similar situations, you know, with why we came here. You know, it wasn't our choice to come here, which is another grief. But, you know, it's something that our parents needed to do for us. And, you know, but, and I've also, you know, in 2014, I also found out that my Lola was a Hilot. And I never knew this all of my life.
Can you tell people what that means? So Lola means grandma.
Lola means grandma, and a Hilot is, so Hilot, the root word is Hilot, and Hilot is our traditional medicine. So a lot of people would connect Hilot to like massage, but it's actually not, that's only one part of Hilot. Hilot like encompasses many different healing modalities.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she was a healer. I guess that's like the like short version of what a Hilot is, like a healer. And you know, each town had a healer.
That's true.
Yeah,
there's
each
like
barangay.
you had within like different towns and villages like the healer who works with plants and herbs.
That's right.
An arbalario.
That's right.
Or like someone who works more with like energies.
That's right.
And then also again massage, and then you would call upon the ones who specialized in what when you needed that.
Exactly.
But there was also this understanding that like, and this is not just within our culture, but other indigenous cultures, that like spirit and body is so connected that if something is like a physical ailment, it's also something spiritual.
That's right.
And therefore you have to address both, you know.
It's holistic, right?
It's holistic.
Like not like Western medicine where they take it as isolated cases, but yeah.
Yeah, and so it's really cool. On Monday, Julay held space for me and did a ceremony called a tawas ceremony, which I've experienced before. It's really cool. It's a divination practice where they had written my name and my birthday and then held it over a flame, and it created an image, and then we both looked at that image, and it's kind of like tarot reading where
Yeah, a little bit.
know, where we saw different images in what like the smoke created on the paper. And then through those images, we were looking up the meanings, or you knew already some of those meanings, and then felt into what resonated. That's or
right.
what felt true. And so the images we saw was, you're so funny, you're like, I'm seeing pork chop.
Yeah.
And I saw two faces, like an anagram of faces that you had mentioned.
Yeah.
I also saw like an island with coral reef around it, or I also saw a water vessel, kind of like with an opening here, and then it looked like that. But essentially, and then the other image that you saw was the snake that had just eaten its
devouring
prey.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, and so when we looked up all these different things, and some of the meanings that came out was abundance, luck, like what you had just said about accepting all parts of ourselves.
Of course, transformation.
Yes. I also received the message of like really needing to take care of my vessel, my body. I just turned 37, so, you know, experiencing different changes hormonally. That's why we're learning about perimenopause now. Get started.
Yep.
The more you know. We don't talk about this enough. And what other? Oh, and that I received this message that I felt like I was being guided and protected in my path. And from that, Julay intuited this design. And I actually haven't gotten to know yet, what does these symbols mean?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that one's like,
This one?
yeah.
Yeah, is your leg okay, by the way?
Oh yeah, I was
Okay.
I was tilting it for the camera for a second just to see
Oh,
the
okay.
design. Yeah.
So you had mentioned something about guidance, and this is like guidance all up in here.
Yeah.
So there's birds. These are birds right here.
Oh.
The like arrow looking things. And depending on what region you're in, this symbol in the middle, I actually found it on like a weave pattern from Panay. And but it's also found in like Abel from Ilocos. And it can be either a star or a flower. You know, so stars. So it's all about stars and birds here.
Wow.
Because they're all guiding, motifs, I suppose.
Yes.
You know, for lack of better words. But yeah, I mean, stars were, as you know, like navigation with the seafarers.
Slash, they represent our ancestors too.
Exactly. I also believe we came from the stars.
Yeah. I'm made of stardust.
We're
don't
made
you
of
know?
literally. But I also, you know, besides like the ancestral meanings for everything, I've actually got into the practice of not really telling folks what it is. And of course I will if you ask, right? But like, I really do believe in us putting our own medicine into things. And so our own interpretations of how this medicine is serving you. So that's why I don't really tell people. I haven't been. I stopped. Because I feel like people get so caught up in the what is this motif and what does it mean? And I'm like, yeah, I can tell you those things. It's a star. There's stars and birds, but also how is that resonating with you in your life, and what medicine are you getting from this? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that, I mean, the first thing I think about is like how I relate to this within dance and within the street dance, club dance world, where like a lot of the younger generation seem to just ask a million questions because they're trying to understand
Absolutely.
how to participate in the art form through the head versus like it's so intuitive in our bodies to just experience music and then to allow what emerges, like what is that natural response.
Yep.
You know, and that like actually the questions you ask will be answered from the act of actually just like being fully present.
Yes.
To the music, to the environment, to the moment. And that sometimes, man, you just don't need words. And I think that's like, you know, if we look at this as that's a weaving pattern that came from the island that my family is from, which in so many ways, like if you look at the different indigenous weaving patterns, a lot of them are so similar. They look so similar.
Yep.
And it's like, how did they all the way over here on these tropical islands near the equator to then people over here on Turtle Island, how did they all figure out like this is how you weave or this is how you ink, you know? Like it's not like they had the internet or a phone to communicate with each other. There was like some sort of, you know, technology that is not through actual tech. That,
Right.
you know, if it's spirit, if it's like the collective consciousness download.
I think it's all of that, and also patterns of migration, you know? So, and like sharing each other's cultures and practices, you know? I mean, even the Philippines, like a lot of our traditions do come from, like
Different
Baybayin alone,
places.
for example, is actually very similar to Sanskrit, right? From India. So
Oh, like as in our
our
original
ancient
writing.
script, yeah. Yeah. So
It's true. It does look like Sanskrit so much.
and then even that symbol, the linglingo that you're wearing,
Yeah.
is like not just native to the Philippines. It was actually brought there from like Indonesia and the Malays and stuff. The original linglingo was actually made of
Jade?
ooh, yes, nephrite jade. Thank you.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's cultural sharing, I suppose, for lack of better words. My perimenopause brain.
Your perimenopause brain is doing great.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'd love to know the story of how you received your spirit name, Akit Biyaya, Charmer of Grace. And what does that mean to you today?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm still actually processing that. I feel like I'm still learning my spirit name and really trying to embody it. When did I receive my spirit name? This was a few years ago. It was definitely before we moved to the island. I'm going to say like maybe 2022-ish.
Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's okay.
It's okay. You don't have to answer it. It's Amazon.
Packages, delivery.
It's for my snake's enclosure. But anyways,
I like that you don't say cage, by the way.
oh yeah. Do you mind passing me that? Yeah. Thank you. I'm sorry. What was the question again?
Julay's snake is named Bill Slithers.
Yes.
The best name.
AKA Snekacon and AKA Hissy Elliott. He's got drag names, okay?
C. Elliott. So good.
What was the question again before that?
Oh, how you got your name
Oh yeah. So
and what it means to you.
I am studying or learning Hilot from my teacher at the Hilot Academy of Binabaylan at Lutyang Agamat, which is in the Philippines.
Wow.
Shout out to them. And my teacher does naming ceremonies where he channels according to your, oh my gosh, kilubansa, which is like, I guess it's another form of it's an elemental reading, basically, where, you know, we take your name, we translate it to Baybayin, and each each sound, because you know Baybayin doesn't actually have letters. It's more like
sounds.
ba, ka, or ba, bi, bo, like that kind of situation. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing, by the way. Yeah. And so he translates it to Baybayin, and that's how they do. So each sound is associated with an element. And so you're either like deficient of an element or have excess of an element, and then you just balance accordingly. And so he did that, and also when he does these naming ceremonies, he also channels specific deities.
Yeah.
And so the deity that came up for me was Bathala, who's the creator. And through Kilubansa and messages from Bathala.
Yeah. Who's Kilubansa?
Kilubansa is the elemental reading I was talking about.
Oh, right.
It's okay. It's a lot of information.
Yeah, and new words.
Yes, exactly. And through that came my spirit name. Charmer of Grace. So according to my teacher, and I'm saying, you know, according to my teacher, because again, I'm still trying to process and embody this for myself. when I do like tattoo ceremony or provide energy work for people, it's holding space for grace. So that's why you call it the charmer of grace. But, you know, because all these ceremonies are about grief, and it's about releasing, you know, whatever it is that no longer serves us, so that we can be in our truth. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and for me, like, I think I really was, I don't know, I almost resisted it at first because I was like, Bathala, like the ultimate creator, right?
Yeah.
Like, showed up for me. And then I had to just embody it because I am a creator. We're all creators, you know? And so, yeah, one day I just kind of like, no, I am a creator. And, you know, Bathala came to me, for a reason. You know, and so, you know, and so I just, I don't know, it's just like such an honor.
Yeah.
And you know, it's such a powerful thing that I almost maybe feel like I don't really deserve it, but I know I do. You know?
Yep. And that is the journey on this path of self-acceptance.
Yes, and that is the journey, right? So what does it mean for me? I don't really know yet. Like I'm just like, I'm at a space right now where I'm just kind of just honored to even have received this name, you know? And that Bathala came through for me, so.
That is sick, dude. I'm actually stoked for you, especially because it was only a couple of years ago. And like you said, like, you don't know fully yet, and that it's going to be the rest of your lifetime.
Absolutely.
Like having, you know, I guess you growing into your name.
That's right. Yeah.
That's super cool. I'm curious to know about your decolonizing journey and what does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Well, you know, it's like, I mean, I've been on this journey for a while. It started actually when did this start? When I actually moved here for the first time back in the early 2000s and, you know, reconnected with our beautiful friend Daga. Yeah, and just like started getting into activism and organizing in the Filipino community. So, you know, my decolonizing journey really started at that time. And back then it was about like identity and like, you know, the struggles that we face here as immigrants in the diaspora in Canada, you know. But again, it's like, for me, it's changed over the years. And for me, it's like, I see the most important decolonizing work now through parenting. Because our children, they're the ones carrying the next generations for us and teaching the next generations. And so I feel like it's super important to, to put my focus into decolonizing parenting and, you know, breaking out of those, out of that colonial mentality that we were brought up in, you know, and it's not easy because that's what we know.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I deal with my child, that's what comes up for me, right? But I'm really trying hard to, like, you know, I'm all about their autonomy, you know, and like.
Can you shed some light on what that means in terms of like the colonized mentality as a parent that you're like able to see and then create a shift from?
Oh my gosh. Ooh, how do I explain that?
Right?
God, how do I explain that? I think, speaking of my own personal experience, and, you know, I have to also recognize that, you know, my parents tried their best to raise us, and they tried to raise us in ways that, you know, their parents raised in ways that don't repeat what their parents did, right?
Yes.
And I just feel like it gets progressively better over the generations, or we'd hope so anyway, right? so I think it's about that, like breaking those patterns, those intergenerational patterns and traumas that shape us into the adults that we are, you know? And so just living in like not being afraid of like speaking our truth.
Yeah.
That's my like, I guess the thing that keeps coming up for me is like my own truth and trust. And so, so that's kind of like what I want to instill in my daughter, you know, like not being afraid to speak her truth and like just being her authentic self, and that it's okay, you know, this world is really messed up, and as we know, it's really messed up, and we that it's okay to feel the things that we feel, you know, and like, because like I feel like mental health is something that is not really talked about in our community, and it's so important because of the struggles that we've been through, like not just like our parents immigrating into Canada, but even the ancestral traumas, you know, and so
they lived through wars.
That's right, right? They were freaking like genocide. It was a genocide. So, so it's all of that, just kind of in the whole mix, you know, and then, you know, decolonizing our mind from our parenting that we received, and then like, I don't know, it's such a weird thing because it's what I know, right? But I know that there's something better. Yeah. You know? And so I just kind of go by my instincts, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, the way I feel like I can relate is like, I think my decolonizing journey started in Toronto, actually, because prior to that, I had grown up in church and with the same kind of Filipino community, which they instilled in me the sense of like village and community values.
Yes, that's
like,
right.
I am who I am because of all those people that I got to grow up with and how my parents raised me in the Baptist church, you know? But when I moved to Toronto on my own, I ended up coming across a place called Kapampangan Arts and Culture Center, and met two cool Filipinos, DJ Mensa, shout outs Dustin, and I think it was Kevin at the time, I can't remember, but I was like, Filipino Arts and Culture Center, what is this? Because my understanding of being Filipino up until that point was like debuts and chismes and like, you know, of course all the fam jams and all the parties, but like to see arts in a way, and also like a community of Filipinos who were talking about this, who were talking about, you know, decolonizing. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Yeah. And as I attended more events with Kapisanan, I saw that they were tapping into and learning more about the art forms and healing practices and even musical practices that existed pre-colonization. Yep. So like first time seeing kulintang, again, shout outs to Datu, shout outs to JR and to Romeo. Like they were the ones who were doing that, and that was the first time I was seeing it. And I guess hanging around this community, more of these conversations just came up, and I was able to see like, oh, the way that I didn't really have an opinion on tattoos back then, but like I grew up with my parents' generation being like, you shouldn't get tattoos. Yep. Your body is the temple of God, and that like, you know, you're essentially demarking or defacing your body. But then when you look and learn, our ancestors were doing this, and it was actually deeply spiritual. And so that is like an example, for example, of like a colonized mentality. And that mentality came from when Catholicism came to the Philippines through the Spaniards who came to colonize the Philippines. It's literally named after King Philip of Spain. I know. It is wild.
I don't actually like calling us Filipinos, but you know, that's how the world knows us. So
yeah. Did you hear about that moment in time where they're like, let's rename it Maharlika? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, there's a whole book about that actually, for sure.
I don't know the status, but if anyone got any recent updates, let us know. Because a rebrand, I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't be mad at it.
Right? I think Maharlika means like something about like royal people or
Can
like
you look it up?
can't
MOARRR,
remember.
spelled MAHARLIK, possibly HA or just A. I thought it meant something like.
I can't remember right now.
No. I think I'm getting the word mixed up with Merdeka, which is like Malaysian or Singaporean. I mean, there are relatives basically, but I think that word means freedom. Merdeka.
Yeah.
Anything come up, Jamal? What does it say?
The Maharlika, meaning free man or freedman.
Ooh.
There you go.
Were the feudal warrior class in ancient Tagalog society in Luzon.
Okay.
There you go.
They belong to the lower nobility class, similar to the Timawa of the Visayan people. In modern Filipino, however, the word has come to refer to aristocrats or royal nobility.
That's where I got it.
There we go. Freedom was in there.
Yeah.
That is so cool. So yeah, I vote as one of the first people in the diaspora. We're initiating an official vote. It's happening.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like, decolonizing is like, we live in such oppressive systems, right? And so I think decolonizing is just like building our own communities outside of these oppressive systems and like just breaking the binaries, of these oppressive systems. And just building community together with like-minded people who want to just live in our truths.
Yes.
I don't know, to put it simply.
Yeah.
Right?
Reclaiming the wisdoms that came
Yes.
from our ancestors
Yes.
that somehow got rebranded as primitive or quote unquote savage. Like, no. There was so much strength, power, and inherent wisdom that existed, and that by reclaiming, I feel like it means to to re-embody and to also have reverence and honor and respect,
Yep.
Just so cool. Oh,
I mean, we can talk about this for days, but we don't have days right now.
so becoming this is the first time I heard this word, the antingero.
Antingero, yes.
Antingero. How did that, an amulet conjurer, how did that come into your life?
I feel like I've always been making jewelry, I guess. And that's the form of anting that I make. So anting is basically an amulet. It means amulet. And in the Philippines right now, an anting comes from this one place, or if you know any antingeros. Quiapo. I think it's Quiapo. There's you can go to Quiapo and buy a bunch of antings if you wanted to. But yeah, it's basically an amulet. I've been making them all my life. You could see
without even
millions
realizing.
of crystals in my house. But and I don't know. And people have been telling me stories of how these amulets have helped them through, And so as I was learning about Hilot, antingeros were one of the I guess gifts of Manghihilots, right? And so I was just kind of oh, that's me. I also do that, So yeah, that's how it came about. I mean, I've always been doing it since I don't even know for how long, since I was a teen, I think.
Wow.
I don't know.
Do you have a favorite amulet or crystal? That you never especially if you're traveling, that you never
that I never
forget, you always carry with you.
Yeah, I have this. Okay, funnily enough, it's a snake.
We're in our snake era.
We're in our snake era. I mean, I feel like I always have been.
Yeah.
But it's this labradorite. I have two of them actually.
Yeah.
There's one that's a labradorite snake and one that's a howlite snake.
Ooh, how light is the one that's like white with gray, right?
It looks like kind of like a marble. I love those protective energies. I also have this like fluorite piece that I like to work with like after energy work or ceremonies, because fluorite really like helps to redirect that energy. So I feel like labradorite, fluorite, howlite, because it's like really calming. I also really love rose quartz.
Yes.
Because like loving vibes, you know, because we all need the
We all need
love.
that. Open your heart.
That's right. Yeah, and I don't know. I like necklaces specifically because I can wear them closer to my heart. It just feels really protective, you know, when you have like, and I like really wearing big pieces too. So when you feel that like heavy big piece right there, it just really feels super protective and safe and kind of, I have anxiety, and so that weight really helps too, you know.
Are you into weighted blankets?
I do have some. I don't know. I'm not sure if I like them.
Yeah.
Because I use them and sometimes I don't, you know. Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if it was working or not when I tried
Yeah,
it.
right?
I was
Like, I'm not
do I
sure.
feel restricted, therefore it's giving me more anxiety, or ...
That's there you yeah, exactly. That's it.
The qualms of weighted blankets.
Yeah.
I wish there was like a button where you could like choose how much it like weighs on you. You know,
I
like
know.
it kind of like goes. Or
I
then
mean, they
lightens
do
up.
have different weights to them. Ooh, I also really like working with pendulums.
Ooh.
I make pendulums also.
How does one use a pendulum?
So a pendulum, have you seen one?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is to explain to the humans. Who might not
yeah, it really just, pendulums are really just an extension of your own energy, you know, and I guess connection to spirit. I mean, it's all about connection to spirit, right? And usually you would just like, you can only really use them. You can use them for anything, guidance, whatever in your life, but you usually have to ask questions that are answerable by yes or no because
Right.
of the way it swings.
Right.
And so if it swings different for everybody, so like you have to kind of establish a relationship with it and see whether it's swinging one way for yes or another way for no, you know? Yeah, that's how you really use a pendulum. Like you can, you know, some people like to have ceremony around it and like prayer before using it. Some people I just use it.
It's pretty trippy. I've seen it where I'm like, I swear to you, I was so still, and then and then it just started swinging.
Yes.
Where you're like, I swear I'm not doing that on purpose.
Yep. I know. It's really trippy, but I love it. I love using it.
So I have some fun rapid fire questions.
Oh my
but
gosh, okay.
Rapid fire doesn't actually mean you have to go really fast. Because
Okay.
proven by history, nobody goes fast on this one.
I'm
But they're fun
not
questions.
fast.
Yeah. Most unexpected place you've given a tattoo?
Unexpected place that I've given a tattoo.
I think that could be interpreted to...
Okay, can I just say it's not necessarily a place, it was
Yeah.
more of an unexpected moment. Is that okay?
Yes, of course.
So it was like the first time I had gotten my tattoo machine. It was in Toronto. I was staying with my cousin. Well, it's actually my Tala's dad's cousin, but we call each other cousins.
Yep.
Also, her name is Lila. May she rest in peace. But I got the machine. I hadn't tattooed anybody. And Lila was like, come on, tattoo me. I was like, what? You really? I haven't tattooed anybody.
Was this pre-poking pigskin?
Yes.
Oh
yeah,
my
I had
gosh.
I haven't tattooed anything at this point. Like
Brave.
She was like, come on. She's like, you're an artist. I trust you. And I was like, what? I mean, she like, okay, in fairness, she literally forced me. Because I did not want to do it. Yeah. So that was like a really unexpected moment because I was like, this person is, but that's what I loved about her because she just always trusted me and my work. Like she actually, when I first started tattooing and taking clients in Toronto, it was her place that she opened up her space for tattooing, you know? And so, yeah, I think that was the unexpected.
What did you tat on her?
Oh, it was like, oh my God. She originally wanted live, love, laugh, but in Chinese characters. And I was like, I love you, Lila, but damn. Anyways, and then I was like, we have our own script, right? And so I ended up doing it in Baybayin.
Live, laugh, love?
Yeah.
I would get that in
Well,
my
it was in
buy-in.
Tagalog. It was in Tagalog, but like.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
So what is that in Tagalog?
Live is like buhay. Well, I guess that's more
Buhay?
like life.
Yeah.
Buhay, mahal,
Mahal.
and tawa.
That's actually so great. When
Yeah.
it's not in English, it sounds great.
It really is. It really is.
Oh, okay. Thing you love most about being here in Lake Cowichan?
Oh, I mean, look at it.
Yeah, nature
I can't,
vibes. We
I-
see mountains and trees from here.
Listen, I'm in my isolation era.
Yeah.
Like hermit life.
The hermit
You
card.
I
hermit
love
tarot
the
card.
community, don't get me wrong, but I like to just go to the community when I'm just at a point in my life where I really need to be the resource that I find is out there in nature, in the waters, in the rivers. We both like lake and river here, in the trees, in the mountains, in the wild animals. Like we have like elks walking around here. We
saw
got
a
bears.
deer on our way.
Yeah, right? So it's just, like the city is too much for me these days. Like too much energy. I'm such an empath. Like it's really hard. Like when I go to Vancouver, to be honest, I really didn't realize how much I didn't like Vancouver until I moved out of like here. And like, so when I go back to Vancouver, I'm always like, oh, I can't wait to go home. But no, and we also wanted to honestly like, encourage folks to come out here for like a reset, you know what I mean? And so we do open our homes. Like we've never had so many visitors in our life because, we open our home to people to come and just chill and relax and be with the land, and
That's
all the
amazing.
animals. Yeah.
Well, I remember when you were first telling me you were moving here, and I was like, I'm going to go there one day. And today is the
Today's
day.
the day.
Okay, go-to comfort food after a long day of holding space.
Sinigang.
Oh, yes, the sweet and sour soup. Is
But-
that or...
Oxtail.
Whoa! Okay, so sinigang is either usually made with fish or...
Like pork.
With pork. Both, like, so good, it just falls off the bone.
Oh,
but
you gotta
now
try
you're talking
oxtail.
about oxtail?
Yeah. And I don't use the flavor packets. I just use like lemons and tomatoes.
Tamarind.
And, I don't actually use tamarind.
Oh, really?
I'm not that
So
into
is
the
it
tamarind.
is it sinigang if it doesn't have tamarind?
Yeah, as long as it's sour. My cousin makes in the Philippines makes sinigang with kamyas, which is like this really sour. I guess it's a fruit, but
Yeah.
it grows on like the bark of a tree.
Oh,
It's kind
wow.
of like this shaped,
Cool.
and it's like so sour. And that's my favorite way of making sinigang sour.
Where did you first try it with oxtail, or did you like
Oh, I just
cooked
made it.
and
I
made
just
it?
made it. I was like, this probably be good with oxtail.
That is amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
Well,
oxtail sinigang. Do it up.
other than this dish, what's one Filipino dish everyone needs to try at least once?
Palabok.
Ooh, why palabok? That is
So good.
that is an acquired taste, I think.
It's so delicious.
Yeah, it's the one with either thin or like these thicker rice
I
noodles.
like the thin ones.
Yeah, me too. Like
Yeah.
the vermicelli style.
Yeah.
With this like shrimpy
Yep.
paste flavor.
Yep.
With hard-boiled eggs, green onion.
Squid. I like it with
Is there
squid.
squid? I've
Some
never
people
had
make
that.
it with squid. Yeah.
Wow. I didn't like it as a kid.
No? Why?
Because I was a picky eater, man.
Oh.
Like, I didn't like a lot of things growing up. But I had it as an adult. And, because we try different auntie titas
Yeah.
and titos and their recipes.
Yep.
And I think I was just getting a tita's recipe that I just wasn't into
Right.
until I tried someone who did it with the thin noodles. And, the crunchy...
Thin noodles all the way.
The crunchy garlic on
oh
the
my
top.
god. And chicharron.
Yes, that. And that I got to eat it inside of a pandesal, like the
Oh
the
yeah.
bread,
That
the dinner
sounds
roll.
delicious.
that converted me from that point.
That sounds delicious.
Right? I could hit that right now. Carb on carb, baby.
We can't get it here. We can't get it here. But, you know.
Note to self, next time I come, especially if I'm coming right from the city, I'm bringing Filipino food.
Yes.
Okay. If you could ink anyone in history, who would it be and why?
Erykah Badu. Why?
Honestly,
Do I have to answer why?
She would get down so hard. She'd be like, yes. Like instant yes.
She would be holding her own ceremony. Like, I'm just be doing this.
I feel that it's all so serendipitous this is happening because your girl got tickets to Erykah Badu in Toronto, August 15th. And
you're going to love it.
I'm so excited. We were just talking about how Julay had seen them in 2017. I have been waiting 18 years to see Erykah Badu because it just has not aligned of being in the same place during any of their shows. But it just aligned, hilariously enough, on the day of Jupiter in Cazimi.
Wow.
Everyone in the astrology world be like, this is a lucky day. I'm like, where's my luck? What's happening? And I got a message from my girl Jizzy in Toronto. And she was like, girls, I got us tickets.
That's
I got
amazing.
the pre-sale code. And Erykah Badu, if you don't know, amazing neo-soul artist, hip-hop artist, just also a doula, also herbalist, also just magical, creative being on this planet.
Also Pisces.
Also
just saying.
Ayo. Oh, we got two
Pisces.
Yes. Jamal too. Yeah. So anyway, I would totally see her getting down with a tattoo.
I'm just saying, Erykah Badu, come on, let's go.
Let's go. An offering is here for you. You will love.
I mean, that was my rapid fire. But I mean, I could answer so many.
That was such a good rapid fire. Okay. What does community mean to you at this stage in your journey?
Oh my gosh. Ooh, that's actually a really tough question for me to answer right now.
We can skip it too if it feels like a big question that's hard to answer.
I mean, yeah, I think we're going to have to skip that right now.
That's okay.
It's really hard for me to answer that in this moment.
It's a big question.
It's a big question. Yeah, I don't know.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Song that is on repeat on your playlist right now.
I've been listening to a lot of Jodeci.
OMG! We're going throwbacks.
Yes, I've been listening to a lot of Jodeci.
What's your favorite Jodeci song?
Shoot, I don't know. Alone, Feenin', what was the other one? Love You for Life. Like, there's so many.
Romantic.
Like the whole Diary of a Madman album, first of all.
Gosh.
But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of Jodeci lately.
I love that for you.
Yeah, just going back to that time, you know.
It was such an era of like R&B, soul music that people don't make anymore.
No, people don't make anymore. And I feel like they're the ones who kind of started that, like,
yes,
you know, that like dirty talk in R&B kind of situation.
Really? Not Barry White? Not these guys from back in the day?
I mean, Jodeci was pretty, like,
explicit.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say raunchy, but like both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I've always thought Jodeci was such a great name.
Yeah, me too.
Name your kid that.
Okay, and low-key, they must be like some sort of Filipino because Jodeci is actually a mashup of all of their like parts of their names.
Yeah. And that's
how
such
we
a
roll.
Filipino thing to do.
Yeah.
Mix names or do alliterations.
Yep.
My family is full of alliterations of all the kids.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So, Filipino names, like what's the most, I don't know, unique, odd, whatever mashup that you know?
Well, this is not a mashup, but it was just hilarious and distinct. I knew someone named Louvely.
Okay.
Because their parents didn't want to go for obvious lovely.
Okay.
So they're like, how about Louvely?
Oh my gosh.
And so they named her Louvely. And it was like people actually kept accidentally saying lovely because they're
Yeah.
like, don't you mean lovely? And they're like, no, it is lovely.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's a very Filipino thing
It sounds
to do.
like lovely with like a British accent.
Lovely. Maybe
I'm
that
sorry.
too.
I'm laughing.
Don't worry, I don't.
No, am I?
Lovely is someone I knew from so long ago. They probably do not know about this stream at all.
Yeah.
We're okay. How about you?
Honey Bill.
Honey Bill?
Yeah, because her dad's name's Bill.
Yeah.
And he calls her mom Honey. So her name's Honey Bill.
Like it's on the paper,
Honey
it's on
Bill,
the passport.
yes.
I love that.
So unique. Let's just say it's unique.
OMG. I mean, sometimes it works out really
Yeah.
well where like, so for example, my little cousin Sharina, shout out Shay, her dad's name is Sean, mom's name's Marina,
Yeah.
therefore Sharina. And that worked out well.
That's a beautiful name, actually.
You know what I mean? It's a great name, but Honey
You know,
Bill,
Filipinos, man, that we just think of the.
they named their kids a whole freaking 4 names and they're not called by any of
No.
those names whatsoever.
Nope.
My mom's name is Erla Layo Loro. Okay, those are many last
Whoa, that's
names,
a serious
right?
name.
But everyone calls her Bong.
Of course.
And that the
Of
nickname
course.
is like some sort of like phonetic, you know?
Bong is such a classic Filipino. Like everyone has a cousin or someone named Bong in their family.
Right? Meanwhile,
Yeah.
anyone who's not Filipino are like, your name's Bong?
Yeah. That's actually my snake's nickname.
Bong? They have a Filipino nickname too.
Yeah.
Why Bong?
Billy, I don't know. Billy B, Bong Bong. I don't know.
Oh, a tradition that will not go away with this
No.
generation. I feel there are certain things, you know, like as we're talking about the decolonizing journey
Yeah.
and the passing on of traditions to the next generation, there are some things I don't want to lose, you know?
Right? Like Bong Bong.
Yeah. Or like I think about Fly Lady Di, shout outs.
Yes.
And her whole channel or her Instagram feed where
She's hilarious.
She's so funny and she is literally keeping alive. It's like a time capsule of a very specific era of
Yeah.
Filipina tita
Yeah.
that if like we'll never have again because that was a generation that lived in the Philippines that then like grew like came over to North America and then this translation into I guess English and the assimilation into North America
Yeah.
created this what my mom calls common language.
Okay.
And I played her one of these reels with Fly Lady Di.
Does she love it?
I was like, Mom, is this true? Can you say this is you? And she was watching, and it's like, it's a bunch of different clips. And then it gets to the clip where Fly Lady Di goes, one day you will inherit all of my jewelry. And my mom had like a surprise laugh, like a cackle where she's like, that's true. I was like, Mom, why are y'all like that? Like, why? How is it that her mom knew that?
Oh my
And my
gosh.
mom, she got this like proud. She was like, it's our common language. And I'm like, say word.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the common languages things that I resonate with is did you know that I had so many suitors? Because my Lola used to say that all the time.
Like suitors. Like everybody was in love with me is basically what they were saying.
Yeah.
Like how is that? How is it that they're all claiming that?
I know, right?
You know? It makes,
Yeah.
it's like, does that mean all them suitors were actually just going after everybody? Like
Right.
how is that you all can claim that?
I know. Honestly, I think for my Lola, it was like her, you know, her kid's dad left them. So I think it's just her way of coping, to be honest. You know? I mean, maybe she did have so many shooters.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Power to her.
Reminds me of my Lola.
Aw. Okay, well that rapid fire went super far.
Is there
If-
more?
If your ancestors could see your work today, what would they say or do?
Whew. I mean, I'd like to think that they're proud of me. I'm just like listening.
You're like, they're telling me to do this, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to think they were proud of me, and like, you know, I'm not a traditionalist in the sense that like how I guess other people claim they're traditionalists with like, what's it called? I don't even know how to explain it. Okay, let me say it this way. I'm taking like ancestral wisdom, ancestral knowing, and just like putting my own medicine into it. So that's why I don't feel like I'm a traditionalist in the sense of how I guess the diaspora sees what tradition is or what a traditionalist is.
Right. Like a purist.
Yes, thank you. Yes, so, and you know, I believe traditions change, everything changes, right?
And evolves.
Exactly, and like, you know, our ancestors, if colonization didn't happen, like we would still evolve and change, and our traditions would change as the times change. And so, you know, like we are Filipinos, and we should be entitled to changing sugar up.
Yes.
I'm gonna say sugar now instead of you know what I mean?
Who are you, other artists, creatives, tattooists in the Filipinx diaspora, who are you inspired by?
Woo, I mean Alona. Hello. From time. I'm really inspired by Grace. Grace, Apo Wangod's niece.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at her work, it's like fire, first of all. For like hand tap, like it's fire. And she embodies the like taking ancient wisdom and putting her own medicine into it. Because if you look at her work, it's not really like in the quote unquote traditional placements. Well, maybe it is, but like the designs is what I'm talking about. So she really embodies that. And I mean, she's a beautiful person. I met her, she tattooed me, you know, and just really like, she's a really like vibrant, that's like the best way I could describe it.
Cool.
Vibrant spirit. So yeah, Grace, actually mostly my peers, you know, I call them my peer elders because I feel like we like teach each other. We all learn from each other. Yeah, Jules. Who else is there? You know, homie from Seattle, Rachel from Seattle. Oh man, there's so many that I like am inspired by. My mentees actually, you know, my mentees are very inspiring and kind of remind me of me when
Who are your mentees right now?
One of well, they've already finished their mentorship with me. Is this like Fijian person? Fijian human, such a beautiful, very super talented person, and they are actually their work right now is trying to bring back Vekia, which is Fijian tattooing.
Wow.
And for them, it was strictly only women were tattooed and only women were practitioners. And
wow.
So there's not a lot of resources about it, but there is a group in Fiji who is practicing to revive their traditions.
Wow.
So yeah, she was able to go there. And, oh my gosh, I'm just like so proud of them. So I have another mentee who's mixed race Filipino, and another one who is from Haida, from Haida Gwaii. I can't remember what other nations that she's from, but yeah.
Cool.
Good people.
Okay, the most sacred part of my process is?
I think, oh my God, it's all sacred, but I'm trying to think of myself these days.
Yeah.
So I think it's the after, like what I do for my self-care. what I do for this vessel, because I do take a long time to recover from tattooing, especially if I'm going to tattoo for like a few weeks, somewhere. I do really need, like, I just recently went to Montreal. I was there for 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, and I wanted to take the summer off tattooing and just like rest, except for this, but that's okay. And the like all that I told you that my chronic pain was flaring up, and it was really because from that time, I'm not fully recovered from it, but it's okay. So it's like my self-care, I would say.
Yeah.
Is my home is like sacred to me.
Yes.
So.
Okay, my last question, because our stream, we've gone over an hour.
Oh my
been
gosh.
Awesome. This is my last question. What do you most wish to see grow or shift within our diasporic Filipinx community?
Oh my God. I could talk a lot of sugar right now, but I won't. I really what makes me sad is the continued beef that happens in our community, and it's like, it just really makes me sad because we're actually all for the same end result. You know what I mean? And like, why can't we work together, and why do we always have to beef? And like, it's just, again, it's that like colonized mentality, right?
It reminds me of like the aunties.
Yes. And like, the lateral violence within our community. It's like, it's just ongoing, and it's like a cycle that just keeps happening. And like, every time I hear of a story or whatever, it just makes me so sad. So I just want, let's spin this in a way of like, I just want like more compassion in our community.
Yes.
To understanding that we all, even though we all have the same end goal, we all have different traumas and different pain in our lives, and just kind of understanding, hopefully understanding where we all are coming from. And like, just holding space that we are all different. We may not agree on anything, but that's okay, So.
Yeah, that keyword you said, compassion, really hit home.
Yeah.
And that's also just beyond our own Filipinx diaspora community. That's like within the human race, period.
Right? For real.
Aw, this has been so good, Julay. Thank you so much for
so
sharing
fun.
space.
Yeah.
See, it wasn't so bad.
I was so nervous.
You're like,
but
what if
chill.
I lose my train of thought? You got it. You were so clear. You were so good.
It was chill. I had fun. I mean, you made things like chill too.
I told you I'd do that. 102 interviews at this point. Is it okay if we can show the almost done tattoo?
We are almost done. Hold on, let me just get this line in here. I'm just kind of finishing up the lines. Just kind of.
Look at that. You got it? Yeah. Well, shout outs to everyone who tuned in on the live stream, people who are watching the replay afterwards. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
My name is Cazi. This is Julay. You can find Julay on the internet, on the web, Sacred Spirit Inc. I think there's a dot in between all of them.
Yeah. Julay.ca. Just go there.
There you go.
JULAY.ca.
Boom. Yes. Shout outs once again. Y'all have been tuned in on Beats, Eats,